Hello YouTube, and here's going to be an introductory video to my cheap 4x4 project. This is just to show you it and how it sits so far. As it's sitting in the garage here, and surrounded by junk, not running. It is a 1994 Ford Explorer. It is got 270,000 miles on it. And I'll show you what I've done so far to it. Right now it's sitting on stock highway tires size. I have 31-inch tall tires for it. But right now it's just sitting on stock tire size. The gear ratio and the axles are 327. If you don't know, it's 3.27 to 1 ratio, which is a really bad ratio for these things. So I'm going to be changing them out. So far what I've done in the front here, as you can see, right here, there used to be like the same color as the car beam go all the way across. I've replaced the core support and got rid of that as well. Because I hope to be putting a winch right there in the near future. This is a flag mount for Silver Lake Sand Dunes flag or what have you. A cute little front license plate cover I screwed to the front bumper. My cheap kind of redneck ram air intake, which is just a piece of dryer tubing, kind of duct tape on there and snake through to the air box. It's right there. And that's about it for the front, other than the front bumper's cut. It's got a 2-inch skyjacker lift on it. Rancho shocks. That's it. The rockers on this thing are completely rotted away. You can see it right there. Hopefully. The rockers are completely gone. So, oh well. Over there, you see I've got an axle and a pumpkin there. That's a rear axle out of another Ford Explorer, and that's a front pumpkin out of another Ford Explorer, along with its front axle shafts. These two axles have 373 gear ratio in them, and that rear axle has a factory limited slip that I plan on just rebuilding for off-road use, since it's cheaper than buying a locker. The U-joints in those axle shafts are junk. I have to change them out. Here's the back of it. Yeah, it's pretty cold today. A little dirty, some stickers to make it look cute. Over here, pretty much the same thing. Rusted out rockers. It does have a 5-speed manual transmission in it, which is quite nice. The interior is not too bad, it's just filled with junk, so. And the front fenders have been cut and the inner lining has been screwed up to the inner fender well. As you can see there. Typical thing to do to make bigger tires fit easier. I could probably fit 33s on here if I wanted to. But with the stock gear ratio, it would be even worse. So that's basically what I have. This is actually a Canadian vehicle. It was actually built for Canada. The speedometer's in kilometers. Other than that, this thing's not too bad. Everything works on it except for the AC. The AC is, I ripped out the AC because it never worked when I got it. You can see more. I've chipped away at the rockers. Rockers are junk. Doors are still good though. So, plans on this thing are to change out the front axle, or the front pumpkin over there, and the rear axle. to the 373s and rebuild the limited slip in that thing. And new front U-joints in the front end. I'm going to change out the ball joints on this side, along with I'm changing out the extended, I'm going to change out the radius arms, which are those right there, for longer ones, to get the ball joint angle right, because this thing is sketchy to drive. Pretty sketchy, because the ball joint angle, looking at the tire, my hand, top of my hand is the ball joint, and the bottom of my hand is the bottom ball joint. So the ball joint angle is kind of like this right now. It needs to be like this. So I don't have a welder, and I'm severely lacking of tools to make extended radius arms, so I'm just going to buy the cheapest one I can find, which is ones from Tough Country. They look kind of finicky, but it's what I got to use, and I guess make a good review of it, see how well it hold up. But as it sits here, needing that stuff done, also a couple modifications to the front axle to get the gonna do an E-clip eliminator. And then the main thing I'm gonna be doing, since this thing, you can see the kitty litter down there, it is leaking coolant like a bastard. So this is how it is. AC pump used to be there, took it out. It's got an electric fan out of a Taurus on here, an early 3-liter Taurus is electric fan that's in there right now. I gotta change out the motor because the fan setting on low does not work, but I have a fan out of a Thunderbird that's too big but has the same motor on it. Cheap hold down tray. Negative battery terminal return, well, not return, off. That is the fuse for the electric fan. That's where it gets its power. Air intake. You can kind of see my dryer hose that go all the way up to here to where the stock intake was. Taped off stuff for the HVAC system. It is leaking coolant like right out of there. You can't see it, but when it runs, it leaks coolant out there bad. I'm not sure if that's where the head gasket or the lower intake manifold is. Might be just a lower intake manifold, but I'm probably just going to do the head gaskets anyway because I want to do a performance upgrade on this 4-liter by switching out to the later heads that will up the compression ratio in this engine. So that's going to be an experiment, and hopefully it doesn't kill the engine by pinging or pre-detonating. Probably going to need to switch to higher octane fuel. That's about it. And the computer out for the right tune for the ignition timing. And I got all that stuff. I'll explain that in another video, but as you can see, it's got a new radiator core support on it. It used to be spot welded in. It is now bolted in, like ridiculously bolted in, because I don't have a welder. So that's what it looks like as it sits right now. Make a log, basically a log of a cheap 4x4 to do. I'll show you the easiest way to disassemble the whole front axle, because that's a little bit tricky. I'm not going to show replacing the rear axle. It's simple as rip the rear end out. I'm going to have it slide out that way and just unbolt the leaf spring there and just let it fall down, because it's axle over leaf spring. And that's about it. Hopefully it's not too shaky. Hopefully I'm pointing to everything I need to point at, but that's basically how this thing is going to start. I'm going to rip out the rear end first and go through that. And I have to go to the junkyard to get all the parts I need for the motor performance I'm going to do. So this is going to be a log of what I'm doing. If you have any requests on how I either wire up the fan or have any requests at all what I've done to it, just ask. I'll show you. This is just going to be a log of what I'm going to be doing, because you don't find many people showing what they did on YouTube. So I figure I'd do this. So stay tuned for more. See ya.